majority of the time whenever you're talking Colorado football, there are a lot of bandwagon people who've never actually watched the Colorado game, but they are more so fans of Coach Primetime, and they want to see him do well, and they follow him wherever he goes and all that kind of stuff, which is why, for me personally, I made sure that I stayed as quiet as I possibly could. I didn't want to say anything about Coach Prime throughout the offseason. I wanted to just stay quiet and say, you know what, I'm going to wait till I see a win-loss record. I'm going to wait to see how his team performs after last year and that complete debacle. They absolutely, the catastrophic fall that they had last year. Say, hey, that was the first year. It happens. This is football. This is what happens in your first year of a coach. That's just how it works, right? No matter the hype, no matter all the stuff that he got from the transfer portal, no matter how much he talked about how we coming now and all that kind of stuff, last year the team just stunk up the joint, all right? But hey, it was his first year, and that's what happens. This year, I said to myself, you know what? I ain't talking no Coach Prime football. I ain't talking no Colorado football until I see a win-loss record. They've officially become bowl eligible, and now they are ranked in – I believe they're ranked number 23, and they have a good opportunity to win the Big 12 and all that. So again, that deserves a hand clap. They deserve praise for answering the critics, and a lot of people were seeing things. A lot of people were saying, hey, they're not as good, and a lot of people were expecting them to lose. So the team actually does deserve to be praised for the winning. Now, here we go. Okay, here we go. Because in life, there's never something that's going to be just all good. There's never something that's going to be all bad. There are trade-offs when it comes to everything good and everything bad. There's no perfect situation. There's no just straight, narrow line that's going to be this and be that. There's always a trade-off, all right? The trade-off to, I'm reluctant to actually call it a success. I'll say the trade-off to, if we're going to, the trade-off to the success that he's having this season is the fact that, first of all, he's playing big. The Big 12 is not what it used to be. All right. It's not what he had last year, when he had to deal with last year when it comes to the Pac-12, right? The Big 12 is not the conference that it used to be. So the competition is not where it was. Again, not taking anything away from the wins, because again, you got to appreciate the wins regardless. As college football is college football. All right. But you do have to recognize that. But also the question now becomes the bigger question, the macro question. And it's more so the question now when it comes to all the people who are so supportive of Colorado, but really they're actually more so supportive of Coach Prime. The question is, when he becomes successful, now that he has officially become successful at Colorado, or now that he's officially gotten some wins and has been able to have some wins on his belt, and his name is bigger, believe it or not, his name now as a coach is probably surfacing around a whole lot more than it actually was before. Now the question is, what's the reason for him to stay in Colorado? What's the reason? Now that he's made it a success, what's actually going to be the reason for him to stay? He got to stay. He came from high school. This is a Hall of Famer. All right, he's a Hall of Famer. Came from high school, went to Jackson State, which is a FCS program, and he has said it on multiple occasions that his lifestyle was going to be fine regardless. He was, again, Hall of Fame NFL player, could sit back and retire, could not. If he didn't want to coach, then he didn't have to coach. He does it for the love. He does it from his heart. He does it because he just loves being out there doing it, which he just doesn't have to. I mean, when it comes to him. However, when he was posed the question when he was at Jackson State, they said, would you consider a Power 5 offer? And his answer was he'd have to consider, not because of his lifestyle, but because of his coach's lifestyle, because of the player's lifestyle, because of the people around him, because of the people that he represents, because of, he is an actual leader, and he has to think about his assistants, his support staff, and the people that follow him. So the question now is it going to, now that he's a success, is it going to make sense for him to stay in Colorado when his two sons move on, his son Shador and Shiloh, and actually the Travis Hunter, who is like a son to him, who he has expressed is like a son to him. Once they move on to the NFL, is the culture, is the team, is he going to be able to go and recruit guys that are going to keep this level of standard, considering that most of the guys that he brought in were from the transfer portal as it is? That's the question. That's the question. And this is where a lot of these things relate when it comes to nepotism, when it comes to how we go about as men, how we go about, operating and bringing our kids into the business. This isn't me necessarily criticizing Coach Prime for his decision or his non-decision, whatever he's going to do. I'm like you. Nobody actually knows what he's going to do unless it's him, and that's not him. Doesn't actually knows what's going to happen at the end of the year. But what we can all start to really question is, hey, now that there's somewhat of a culture, somewhat of a win streak here in Colorado, I'm more curious about what real Buffs fans, like real people, that this is why I like listening to Matt McChesney. I like listening to him a lot because he actually played there. I like listening to Joel Klatt. I like listening to the people that actually played for Colorado to really get their thoughts on this, because you just gotta ask yourself these questions. This is a business. College football is a business, and every team is gonna have, like, I'm a diehard. People know me.